It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor, and all the engines were working hard to be very useful, except for one engine. Unfortunately for Henry, he had crashed in the snow when he was pulling the flying kipper, and he got very ill from the coldness, so he had to stay in the sheds until he was mended. Douglas felt bad for Henry after his fall, but James had other thoughts. Oi, I feel bad for Henry, said Douglas. James just hissed indignantly. I have seen worse. Douglas was stunned. James, getting sick can actually get you into some serious issues. Yeah, whatever, James said. Douglas then spoke back. Well then, if you think that you're so good and all, then how about you take my train? James thought for a moment. He wanted to fight back, but he knew that Douglas would make fun of him. If he didn't prove it. So James reluctantly sighed and said, Fine, I'll pull your silly little train, James said reluctantly. And so with that, James then headed off to Brandon Docks. James puffed as fast as he could all the way to Brandon Docks. I will prove him wrong. That silly Douglas thinks that I couldn't do a simple job. Ha! He must be insane. I could do any type of job and do it 5 times better than any other engine could, James said proudly as he raced on. James was puffing through Brenham Docks until he eventually found Douglas's train at the very back of the heart of Brenham Docks. James eyed the train irritatedly. I'm hoping that this is gonna be worth it, he said. He roughly banged the trucks on each other and said, Alright, you silly trucks. If I'm gonna be pulling you today, not Douglas. So I better not get any problems from any of you, he snapped, before hauling them out of the dock siding. James then felt very pleased with himself, thinking that he had gotten the upper hand of the trucks. Little did he know that the trucks were pulling right behind him. James started to slow down so that he could drop off some of the packages. But then that's when it all happened at once. Now! Shouted the trucks before they started pushing James on and on. And he went faster and then faster. Soon James was rocketing down the line. His driver tried to apply the brakes, but with the truck's tremendous speed, it was no use. Poor James had ended up Poor James ended up crashing the train right behind him. James was stunned by what had happened. Since the train was so long, he couldn't interpret if the train was wrong. But he didn't really care and just wanted to get out of there. So without caring the world, he started puffing onto him, leaving half of the train behind. It wasn't until they got to the scrapyard where the driver looked back and noticed, "James, you left half of the train behind, you silly engine." James was stunned before stopping completely. He looked back carefully just to see that half of the train was gone. James was then stunned before all of that astonishment turned into complete rage. James had it. And without anything else, he got uncoupled from the train so he could go coupled to the back. He angrily bashed up to the behind of the train and then started to pull it. Soon
DeAndre, it's time for bed.
James started to slow down. Then he realized, "Oh no," he saw, "I'm out of water." Just as he said that, James started picking up at high speed. He raced down the hill and raced down faster and faster. The driver tried to apply the brakes, but with the icy tracks and the truck's insane pushing, there was no use. James then shut his eyes as he embraced what was coming. Luckily, no one was hurt, but poor James had crashed right into the train, and he had caught a very bad cold after the impact. James didn't feel very proud anymore. Meanwhile, at Tim Mitchell's, Henry eventually then came back from the works. "Oi, Henry, how are you?" "I'm doing quite fine," said Henry gladly. What they saw next couldn't make them stop laughing. What they now saw was Emily pushing a tarp-covered James into the sheds without a tender. James had caught a very bad cold. After the tar spilled all over him. "Boy, is that James I see over there?" Doesn't look like it. It's not very splendid. And the James I know would never get a cold under any circumstances." James was embarrassed. He didn't even know what to say next. He looked down at his buffers for a few seconds before turning to Douglas. "Douglas, I'm very sorry for how I acted. And Henry, I'm very sorry for thinking that a sickness is no joke. It is really serious. Oh, that would hurt. It's alright now, James, said Henry. Even I thought the sickness was nothing. But I sure got what I deserved. Henry is right. Things may look harmless at first, but when you experience them, they're no joke. Despite all the silliness James had experienced, he still felt a little bit better.